Welcome to Success Wealth. Today, we have someone on the show that I've been following for some time now, and someone I've really wanted to get on the show, and she's finally here. Okay, that person is Kerry Stevenson. How are you today?
Philip, you're too kind. I'm fantastic. It's coming up to Christmas. How can you not be fantastic?
One interesting year. It's time for celebration indeed, especially for our Melburnians, where we're actually let loose now and we can celebrate. You were just here.
I drove from Sydney to Melbourne. Fabulous drive, very easy. I spent a couple of weeks in Melbourne. You guys are pretty happy down there at the moment.
Yes, we are. And the weather's out, the weather's finally turned, and we're very happy. Lan, we've got Kerry on today. She's been someone that we've been waiting to get on the show for so long, and it's our opportunity to pick her brain and share everything that she does with our community.
Yes, absolutely. And the fact that we only let out the last 2 weeks, you're probably seeing Melbourne's seeing every day is Christmas, because we actually taste of freedom now. But I think this is a good show to have with Kerry here, because she's a wealth of knowledge. Maya, of course, and also we want to give this. This is probably the last video for the year, and we want to get a perspective of what you should be looking for or wrapping up 2020 before and setting the goals right for the 2021. So shall we start?
Sure, Lan. By all means. Okay.
So Kerry, for the viewers who don't know much about yourself, can you please tell us what are your projects, some of your projects, and what are you looking to focus on in 2021?
Sure. So, Lan, Philip, thanks for having me on your show, and well done, you guys, for helping to educate people. It's one of my passions as well, is that really we need people to understand what's happening in the economy, but more importantly, how to grow and protect their wealth. And that's been my mantra since, decades now. How do you grow and, more importantly, protect your wealth? And that involves a number of things. But from my point of view, I lived in Europe for a number of years, came back to Australia in 2003. Now, at that time, when I came back here, I had a little boy who was, I think at the time, he was about 7, 8 years old. I was a single mum. I'd gone and bought myself a house. I had the car, but I couldn't get a job. J-O-B, just over broke. Because I'd been away from Australia for a long time, and you almost get punished for, you've been away for a while. I was either overqualified or underqualified. So to his credit, my ex-husband said, why don't you start up your own business doing a mining conference? And I said, I have no idea about mining, except for that's a very large diamond. To which his reply was, well, you're smart, learn. And this is the thing about life. Sometimes in life, you have to take a risk. And so back in 2003, going into 2004, I set up a company called Resourceful Events. Came up with that one at a pub one night going, well, it's resources, it's events, well, let's be resourceful. I did that in a joint venture with a publishing firm and continued that until the end of 2008, when I resigned from that because it was a joint venture. I wanted to run my own show. And that's when I set up a company called Symposium, which is a Greek word for sitting around in a circle sharing information over a drink. I thought that's appropriate. But what I didn't realize is most people can't spell the word symposium, so that was a bit of a pain in the neck. Anyway, was doing a lot of events in the mining sector, but I got fascinated with money, and then I got fascinated with gold as money. And of course, gold is a commodity, as is silver. And so about 10, 11 years ago, I started running the gold. It was literally called the Gold Conference. And then a couple of years ago, I changed that to the Gold and Alternative Investments Conference. Why did I do that? Well, I guess mainly because I saw the rise in the digital economy and digital assets, and I thought I needed to broaden it just a little bit. And so for the past 3 years, we've included alternative investments in that. But alongside that, that's the business side. But personally, I have a self-managed super fund, but I also invest in property, in gold, in silver, in crypto, because the one thing I want to tell people about, if you think the government's going to look after you when you retire, you'd better think again. You have to have, in my opinion, multiple streams of income, whatever that looks like. Now, that might look like you need a couple of jobs to create a bit of a financial buffer. so that you can then go and invest in things. But let me say this from the outside, Philip and Lan. I am not a financial advisor. You must do your own research. Today, what I'm talking about is my experiences, my risks, my understanding of how to make myself financially independent. But this is not necessarily advice for everybody out there. Small business owners, you've all got different challenges. So you've got to do your own research, B, read the fine print, and C, make sure you talk to somebody like Lan or Philip. Make sure that you understand the ramifications of investing in some way.
That's amazing. And I didn't realize we are actually very like-minded, Kerry, about multiple streams of income and not relying on the government to look after you at retirement or even now. We can clearly see about the lockdown, if something happens, government will shut your business down in an instant if they have to. So we're very similar.
Yeah, I think that the challenge we've got right now is people are getting used to what I call the free funny money. And it's funny money because, as we all know, governments around the world are just printing fiat currency like there's no tomorrow. We know that people are receiving more than they've received in the past. If they've worked in a cafe, suddenly they're getting more than they received working. So they're turning around and saying, well, you know what? Don't feel like working anymore. And once you have that mentality in a society, once you have people that say, I don't want to be productive, then we're going to have some issues. And I think that at some point, the sweetie jar will be switched off and people will suddenly wake up and the emperor will have no clothes. That, to me, is a danger. And I think people have to stop thinking that the government's just going to keep doing the handouts.
Our debts are at record levels now. We're talking about exceeding $1 trillion as a nation, and we've never been in this type of situation before. So even after World War II, we went into a lot of debt, but not to this level.
I think global debt now is at about, I remember growing up when you would say, oh, that person's a millionaire. That's just so amazing. And now we're talking about, billionaires. Soon we'll be talking about trillionaires. It doesn't mean anything anymore. And what people don't understand, it's not the value of the asset that's going up, it's the price of the asset that's going up because they're putting so much liquidity into the system globally. As you rightly say, Philip, here in Australia, $1 trillion, but it just slips off people's tongues. They're like, well, it's debt, who cares? And of course, interest rates have come down to 1-2%, sometimes negative over there in Europe. Very soon people are going to be having to pay the bank to hold their money. Sorry, currency. Money is gold and silver. Everything else is currency. And we all know that the devaluation of currencies around the world, you just have to have a look at South Africa, have a look at Venezuela, have a look at all places around the world where the citizens are, their currency is being devalued and the prices of things are going up. Look back to, money can become worthless, but people don't think it will ever happen, especially here in Australia.
I remember as a kid and listening to my parents and things like that, they would always say, I want to win the lottery. So they get this big lump sum. And what would they do? They'll go, I'll put it in the bank and I'll just earn the interest, live off the interest and I'll be set for life. So those options are available anymore. The traditional vehicles that we used to have or conditions aren't the same anymore. We can't do the same things. So if you're still thinking of, yesteryears and trying to apply it today, it just simply won't work. And that's what we're trying to educate people and saying the world has changed. Your voice in the community is so strong with this that we fully support it and we want to get the message out.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting thing when you say that, if you won the lottery, stick it in the bank, get interest, live on that. I look at that and say currency is an energy. In fact, most things in this world is an energetic transfer, whether it's an energetic transfer of wealth, it doesn't really matter. If you have that currency and it sits in a bank and it does nothing, my opinion is there is no velocity of money and therefore it is not working properly. You have to put your money to work. And you mentioned lottery winners. Most lottery winners lose it all anyway because they don't understand the intrinsic, not only value of money, but how money works and what I mean by the velocity of money. So when money is transferred and begins to work. That's why I'm always looking at opportunities. I just today, happening right now, I'm investing in a data center in the US. Now, is it risky? Absolutely. Do I hope for a return? 100% I do. But I'm taking action. I'm doing my own research. I'm looking at who's behind it, because I always say to people, it's about the people behind the company. Are they shysters? Have they got a good or a bad track record? Do they understand what the market is? And by the way, guys, the market has completely changed since COVID started. There are some massive winners and there are some big losers. Lan, you mentioned before, small business owners in Melbourne shut down. How do they survive? How do restaurants in Melbourne survive under these new COVID laws where they're saying, you can only have X number of people in a restaurant? They weren't making $1 million when they were full.
Yeah, let's talk about this now, about small business now and the challenges they have is allowed to say post-pandemic. Not sure it's over yet, but let's say after 9 months of pandemic. What do you see the challenges for small business coming for 2021? Now that we're allowed out, we've got loads of government handout money, which obviously we didn't earn ourselves, but 2021's here, we're allowed to open slowly. What do you see the next 12 months challenges are, and there's two parts, and what should small business owners really be planning ahead and doing?
Well, it's at this point that I say to myself, I wish I had a crystal ball, because quite frankly, I saw, for example, the property market. I sold my principal place of residence in January, end of January, pre-COVID, because I felt that it was a bit bubbly, the property market. And for those that understand assets and liabilities, your own house, it's not an asset, it's a liability. And I went, you know what, I'll flick that. Now, property market's gone on a tear because there's just so much liquidity going into the market. Your question of what's going to happen in 2021, difficult to say. I think that stimulus checks will be pulled back a little bit, which potentially could uncover those companies, what I call zombie companies, those companies that are just being propped up by the stimulus. What the COVID pandemic has done is it's grabbed the future and it's brought it into the present. And I'm saying it's grabbed 5 years into the future and brought it into the present. What do I mean by that? Those people that did not understand, for example, the use of what we're doing today, the use of technology to allow us to talk to each other. Normally you'd say, well, look, let's set up a studio. Let's get you to come to Melbourne, have a chat with us. And now we're doing it all online, and we found out how easy it is. People are using the home deliveries for all sorts of things and saying, well, I don't need to go to the shopping mall anymore. I'm saving time. They're using technology and applications to save themselves time. And in turn, what that's doing, it's just changing the way things go. So my view on 2021 is there are going to be big winners. There's going to be big losers. And so for small business owners that are looking at what's going on today, if you're in the restaurant business, if you can't have a 100% capacity in your restaurant business and the numbers don't add up, what can you do to create another stream of income? If you're an Italian restaurant, maybe you've got a special, beautiful tomato sauce that you can then sell. Maybe you can do home deliveries, but is that going to give you enough? Maybe there's something else that you can do. I don't know. You've got to think outside the laziness of saying, I own a restaurant, that's it. That's number one. And I think that there, as I said before, there's going to be big winners and big losers.
I like that line of thinking, Kerry, very much, because you have very popular restaurants where they're fully booked or people are lining up, waiting to get in. But some of those people are happy with maybe takeaway or delivery if they're, and so you're saying that think outside the square, find alternative ways to maximize the capacity of your business so you get multiple streams of income. Don't stop, because we're open now, don't stop that ordering online now, because they've been doing that for 6 months so well. So continue that. If you already got that going, continue that. Did you want to add anything else, Kerry, about that?
Well, I think like anything, I mean, my mantra has been for a long time that people need to hedge and diversify. And what do I mean by that? I mean by that diversification is going to be your friend. You need to be able to look at what you're doing. And we've all got 24 hours in a day. I have some people say to me, I'm too busy. I don't have enough time. I guarantee if I did an audit of your time day, you're probably getting up at maybe 7 or 8 o'clock. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You get a lot done between 5 and 7 o'clock. My first interview this morning was 7 a.m. I was up. I'd done my research. I'd have a look at everything. But people will often say, I don't have enough time to do that. Well, you have excuses or results. You can't have both. So if you're sitting out there listening to this and saying, well, you don't understand, I'm a single mom, I've got 3 kids, I have no time. Well, you do. You just have to manage your time more effectively, because I reckon if I did an audit, I guarantee you'll be watching more than 5 hours of television in a week. And we say, oh, but I have to watch it with my children. No, you don't. So I think it's about a mindset as well. You know, as I said before, excuses or results, can't have both. So what are the excuses that are holding you back from having the opportunities that you want to have, whatever those may be? But as I said right at the start, the government's not going to look after you when you retire. I mean, I'm coming up 60. I'm not planning on retiring anytime soon because I'm passionate about helping people to navigate. But as I said, I'm not a financial planner. Maybe I should have done that years ago, but I'm not. I like to financially plan my own lifestyle and what's happening.
What would be the 3 simple things that like people who are not doing anything at the moment can learn from you, apart from waking up at 5 a.m.? Like, what are the 3 things that you can, part your knowledge that they can do simply, like straight away, with not having to pay money, like themselves?
Alongside of all the things that I said before, I also have a coaching business called wealthmoneycoaching.com. One of the first things that I tell my coaching clients to do is I said, we're going to do an audit of where you spend your money. So for the next 2 weeks, every time, whether it's 5 cents, not that there's anything of 5 cents anymore, but whenever you spend any money, I want you to write it down. So we're going to do 2 weeks of you writing down where you spend your money. 9 times out of 10, those people cannot believe where their money's going. And I call it funny money because what have we got today? We've got, and I see it all the time. Not only do they no longer have a credit card, which they have to put into a machine and tap a pin, they literally have a phone and they go tap. They have no idea what they're spending. Most of them have no idea that when they do Payway or Wave or whatever it's called, that they'll be charged quite often a little extra for having the convenience of doing that. Yeah. So that's one of the first things I say. I want you to look at everywhere you spend your money. Oh, you think you just spent $19.95? When the bill comes in, it's probably $20.56. But that's 61 cents that you thought you had, but you actually don't have. And, you know, there's that very old wise saying, which, you know, look after the pennies and the pounds will look after themselves. You know, I'm one of these crazy people, and my son gets terribly embarrassed about this, but in New South Wales, we have a return and earn. And my wallet's outside, so I can't show you, but I will go and take those empty bottles with 10 cents and I'll put them into return and earn. And I looked this morning and I went, oh, $20 over the last couple of months on return and earn that I can now spend at good old Woolies. So it sounds crazy, but I'm very conscious of where my currency goes. I'm very conscious of doing things like, for example, I don't have Foxtel. I don't have Netflix. I do have Stan, but that's because I'm piggybacking off my sons. So it doesn't. It's the little things that add up, and people don't realize that, you know, they maybe they haven't even looked at their electricity account for a while, and they've never rung up a couple of providers to say, can you give me a better offer? What are they doing with that? Are they looking at their car and saying, well, we've got 2 cars. We don't use 2 cars on a weekend. Maybe we should go do car next door or opportunities and make some money that way. But people are, sorry to say it, a lot of people can be lazy, especially when it comes to money.
Well, that's like anything, because I think with COVID, people were at home, they had more time, and they started reviewing their home loan rates. If they had mortgages, you could save like lots of money there. That was the book that Koshi wrote. He said 11 ways to save money, and refinancing your home loan, reviewing your insurance and your utility bills, Foxtel, all those subscriptions that you have that you don't really use. like you can save heaps of money that way. So I think, so you've got this coaching business. Is it for everyone or is it just for small biz or?
No, it's for everybody. Because
Yeah.
coaching is really just a way of keeping people accountable at the end of the day. That's the way I look at it. You want to come and be coached by me, I will keep you accountable. So it can be for small business, because I'm a small business owner, have been most of my life, probably because I'm totally unemployable. But I understand small business. I understand some of the challenges. And most of the time, I find that it's people's mindset. And if I can change their mindset, when I change their mindset, everything else flows. Where thoughts go, money can flow as well. So you have to understand that thoughts are things. And if you're having a negative mindset and a negative thoughts going through your head, I mean, we have 70,000 thoughts a day, of which over 50,000 are subconscious. You don't even know what you're telling yourself.
Yep.
So a lot of my coaching is about getting that mindset right, pointing them in the right direction. And also, if I see a business and it's on its last legs, I'm very honest with people. And I'm looking at the books and I'm saying, you know, you are losing X number a year. How much longer are you going to live on hope and the probability that this is going to turn around? Sometimes you've got to rip that Band-Aid off and start again. The most successful people I know have failed twice in business. They've got up. It's not how many times that you get knocked down, it's how many times you get up. You just got to get up, get knocked down 10, get up 11. Having a look at where your money goes, that's number one. Number two, I would say, is mental health. And I say mental health through exercise. If you're sitting in front of a computer 12 hours a day, and then you get off the computer and you go sit on the couch and watch 4 hours of television, that's not good for you. You need to move. I don't care how you move, whether it's a walk, a run, a swim, a cycle, go to the gym. If you can't afford the gym, walk, do something, but walk to get your body moving, because when you get your body moving, your blood moves. When your blood moves, it feels oxygen in your brain. When that happens, you have more clarity and less depression. One of the things I'm noticing at the moment is there's too many people that are saying they're depressed, not in a good, happy place, and they're fearful. So I believe that exercise can really help people. So that would be my number two. Number three, be resourceful, get educated. Listen to things like what we're doing today. Stop watching Netflix, start getting educated about what's going on out there. So that's my three.
There you go. And all those three is actually it's free as well, isn't it? Knowing your numbers, exercise.
Absolutely.
So there's no excuse that you're broke or you can't afford it. You just have to allocate the time to do it.
Yep. I was talking to a coaching client the other day who said, I said, what time do you get up? Oh, 8 o'clock. I went, what? Half the day's over. So I couldn't possibly get up at 5. Yes, you can. You just go to bed earlier. As my father said, nothing good ever happens after midnight. Go to bed earlier.
I love it. Love it. There's a saying that I really love is that you can't really manage time, but you can manage your priorities. So I think linking people's priorities and what they really want in life back to their actions is something that can really help them. Now, Kerry, just on small business. So you're saying there is your small business that you work on, but people should be thinking outside your small business and creating something outside that as well?
As we all know, interest rates have come down. Debt is cheap, but there's good debt and there's bad debt.
Yep.
Now, I really am passionate about making sure people understand the difference in good and bad debt. Bad debt, don't go and buy yourself a brand new car. It's an opinion. I don't think you need to buy a brand new car. Bad debt, going out and saying, I have to have a paddleboard when you can't afford it. Good debt is investing in things which will give you a return. Now, interest rates very, very low at the moment. Go and talk to brokers. Go and talk to people. Find out how much it is that you can borrow, but don't borrow to the extent that it's going to put you in a stressful situation. Now, I know, Lan, that you love property. I love property. Love it. I think it's a little bit overblown in Australia at the moment. When you said look at 2021, I don't know. It could keep blowing up, but as you know, both of you, whether it's the stock market, which also is blowing up at the moment, or it's the property market, nothing goes up in a straight line. So we will have these little movements like this. I love when it does that. That's when I pop in, not up here. And what I'm seeing at the moment is a lot of people getting these stimulus checks and having some extra fiat currency in their accounts. They're going out and popping it into shares, and they're not doing their research. They're not understanding what it is that they're investing in. They're just hoping that it keeps going up. If it has a blip, there's going to be a lot of people in a lot of pain, and that's what I do not like to see.
I think the flip side, what I see is that not enough action or thought it has gone through to business owners, because they're so, and we spoke about this before the show, is that small business are so focused on the inside, working on the business. They're not doing much outside the business, meaning they're not really looking at their personal finance, investing or anything. They're doing less like the employees, because the employees actually forced to put the super to the super fund and at least get invested, every year 9.5% SGC. Whereas business owners, they struggle to pay their bills, and sometimes they forget they don't pay their own super, let alone start looking at alternative investments like what we're discussing. So I would like a call to Australian small business. Now that you've survived the COVID, you need to now look at your small business, yes, and get it under control, but also look at ways of getting multiple streams. Like Kerry is mentioning about the restaurant and cafe business, where if you're fully booked, what can you get a second side business online ordering? Then with the extra profit, can you then start investing a small chunk of that into alternative investments? Now we're not going to give you all the solutions today, because Kerry obviously has 40 years plus experience in doing that. But what we hope to do is get you excited and start giving back, empowering the small business that you can do it, because it's just all in the mindset, isn't it? First of all, you got to feel the pain of being poor. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can't do anything. I'm helpless. I was born poor. My business is broke. I can't change it." That's not really true. And people know that, like I've worked with people who come from not migrated to Australia in 10 years, and they've built a massive multi-million-dollar portfolio of property or crypto or whatever investment. So it can be done. It's just wanting to do it bad enough. And you've got coaches like Kerry that can help you. So that's what I wanted to. I think that it's great that we're finishing COVID, but I think our community and also small business need to start thinking what else they can do for themselves and their family in terms of building wealth.
Yeah, and they need to mindset first and foremost, in my opinion. Stop thinking that you can't and thinking that you can. If you think you can, you can. You'll make it work. Back and think you can't do it, and fear stops you, then you'll never do anything. And then at the end of your life, we're here for a breath, literally. My opinion, life is so quick. So get out and do something, and stop letting fear dictate what your future self will look like.
Yes, absolutely. So we've knuckled down the challenges for small business. Then what about, we discussed also what you mean by hedge and diversifying your portfolio, because I think you've mentioned a couple of times in other shows, but can you share with our community what do you mean by that, and what are what are some of the solutions that they can look at?
Okay, so for myself, for example, I have a number of different investments, whether it's in an aged care business or a data center, and people will say, well, it's okay for you. Well, you know what? I had to start somewhere, and I've taken some risks. I've got physical gold. I have physical silver. I have people say to me, I can't afford gold. What, really? Well, there's a new platform called Send Gold, S-E-N-D, Send Gold. I think it's now changed to Rush Gold. Anyway, you could put $10 a week and it would be back. That's your fiat currency backed by gold. So there's no excuses anymore. Or go and buy silver. And people often say to me, oh, it's so complicated. No, it's not. Go to rushgold.com. put some of your fiat currencies into the gold. They don't do silver; they only do gold. And then you're diversifying away from having all of your funds in fiat currency, which is being devalued because governments around the world keep printing it. So the valuation of your funny money is going down. Now the gold, that you can't print gold, and the amount of gold in the world goes up by about 1.6% a year. The increase in population goes up by about 1.9% a year. As I say, you can't print gold. It's a finite resource. And so I encourage people to just, people say to me, well, how much of my wealth should I have in gold? And I say, well, look, Jim Rickards is somebody that I admire a lot. His view is 10% of your wealth in gold. Now, I have a little bit more. I have probably 20% of my wealth in physical gold. I have some in gold equities, only because the leverage of gold equities can be quite strong. But again, people can make massive mistakes. Shares can go way up and they can go way down as well. So you've got to know it's the psychology of investing. And if people don't understand, happy to point them to somebody that can help them there as well, somebody that I trust. And that's the other thing, guys. I think it's really important to get a great team around you. Get the best financial advisor. Make sure that they've helped other people before. Get a great lawyer around you. Get a good team of people that have got your best interests at heart and can help you down the road of being financially secure and ultimately financially free. And I think that's really important. But it's not hard to do any of this. It's really not. Stop watching Netflix. Start getting educated.
So Kerry, you touched on there. A lot of things are going digital. Investing's going all digital. It's so easy these days that you can actually hop online and start an account in virtually minutes and be on the market. But there's a lot of confusion around digital assets. Like, how's your journey been down that path with because Bitcoin's one thing, but that space is massive, and it's a lot of products and services that are coming out of that is simply amazing. But how have you found it for yourself? Where would you recommend people to start?
There's a great website in the crypto space. It's run by a guy called Alex Saunders. It's called Nuggets News. That's NUGGETS, nuggetsnews.com.au. He's got a lot of free resources on there. So if you're just starting out in crypto, again, there's a lot of stable coins out there. There's a lot of hype out there. There's a lot of people out there, especially at the moment, while the markets are going stronger, crypto's going up. You're going to have a lot of spruikers out there, and some of them are going to take away your hard-earned wealth and you won't see it again. So again, do your research. You've got to understand. Warren Buffett said it beautifully. If you're investing in something that you have no idea about, stay away. We've got I'm not going to mention the name, but up here in Sydney, there's a certain person that was a supposed financial advisor that was taking all this money from friends and family, etc. And ASIC came knocking, she's gone missing, along with it's millions and millions of dollars, because these people entrusted this person with their, oh yes, I'll look after your self-managed super fund. It's kind of a Bernie Madoff type scenario. So you've got to get a great team around you, but you've got to do your research. Who are they? And if you don't understand what they're investing in, don't do it. Don't have a self-managed super fund unless you understand fully what you're investing in. Do your own research. I love resources, but I also quite like biotech. But I do my research.
Yeah, I was just going to say a tip to people who want to look for experts, or like if you're seeking, for example, a wealth money coach or a financial planner, just interview them and ask them, are they financially free themselves? Because like if you're seeking an accountant, make sure their tax returns are lodged on time, lodged properly. If a new client was, for example, coming to me, ask me, like, you would not hire a dentist if their teeth is all rotten. You'd go, if you can't look after your own teeth, how can you look after mine? So a financial planner, I'm just picking on that because they've got a license to advise you, but are they financially successful themselves? And if you interview them, they have no assets, no nothing, and they just drive a Merc, then I would just question, like, how can you help me? I think that, going back to your point about doing your research, because a lot, unfortunately, there's a lot of players that they look good on the outside, but really, it's not true. It's not true.
That's a really good point, because social media, there's so much on social media at the moment. Some dude standing in front of a private jet, somebody else standing in front of a Lambo. And it's like, guys, it's not true. It's an illusion. And people keep seeing all this. So in their head, they see all this success and they think they're not successful. Well, most of those people are not successful. It's an illusion. Slow and steady with good, strong financial advice. Instead of buying, 10 coffees a week, make your coffee at home. Put that money into a pot where you're going to, that's your investment pot.
So I think we noted down about building the right team. I think the minimum team that you need to have is a savvy accountant, a broker, a lawyer, a wealth coach or financial planner. If you're in property, obviously some, property manager to manage your assets. If you're in crypto, then get some knowledge or expert of help in that, whether it be Nuggets News or the big part. So in proximity, I always believe that, if you want to be successful, you got to be close to or in proximity to people who are wanting the same or already there. So exactly, and that's come true for me and Philip as well. So because we want to focus on the education space. So I've realized that I've connected more people who are doing the same, like yourself, Kerry, wanting to educate. Naturally, not really intended, but naturally, because we all want to do the same. So if you want wealth, look at your friends. Are they all millionaires, or are they just really Netflix people watching Netflix? Or you're talking about Netflix all the time? You might need to join a community surrounded with millionaires. I think that really helps, because we will talk about money, crypto, property cycles, things that Kerry spoke about. We're not going to talk about like the latest film. For me, I just add on your point is proximity to community and successful people is the fourth thing that I would add, and build your expert team, your A team.
Build your A team, so important, so important. And you know what? At the end of the day, don't be too down on yourself. It is a mindset. Be joyful and be grateful and be thankful. Goodness me, we live in Australia. We should be really thankful. And I know you guys are in Melbourne through your 9-month or whatever it was lockdown. But aren't we lucky we're in Australia?
Melbourne is probably a bit behind with everybody else because, we just been, as I said, freedom 2 weeks ago. But compared to UK, my brother's in UK. He's in hard lockdown at the moment. They're not really having All I can say is that enjoy what we have and be grateful. And Kerry, how would you plan for your own 2021? Do you sit down and do your plan, or you just how do you do your successful planning?
Well, so COVID's been actually quite good for me, because I was running an annual gold conference, which actually took, the cost was about 300,000, 350,000 with all the infrastructure and things that I had to put around it. And now I'm doing every quarter I do a virtual gold conference. So easy. Big plug on goldevents.com.au. So easy, and it's free. We get a couple of keynote speakers and then some mining companies. Now, I'll pick those mining companies. I'll make sure that they're not dodgy. But again, it's not advice for you to invest in them. It's just, here's another opportunity. Do your own research. So COVID's been good for me because I can do that. I'm also constantly getting opportunities sent my way. So I will assess those and have a look at them. But it's also about finding time, some me time as well. So I'm heading up to Port Douglas for Christmas, having a week away from the electronics, go spearfishing with my son. He'll spearfish. I'll sit on the boat. I mean, my goodness, guys, it's 2021 next year. Somebody said to me the other day, the year 2000, and I was like, that wasn't that long ago. It's like, oh my goodness, that was 20 years ago.
I can still remember Christmas in 2020 and New Year, and then Asian New Year, Vietnamese New Year, and then bang. I don't know. I can't remember what happened in between, apart from working from home. It's really much like that.
But we talk about people getting educated. I do have a YouTube channel. Again, it's free information. So everything that I do is on that YouTube channel. I'm not as, you know what, one of my things is for 2021, consistency. So I'm going to be more consistent in my YouTube lives, which I was doing every Wednesday and Friday. And then I went to Melbourne and didn't do them. And naughty, big smack on the wrist. So I have a coach, by the way. So coaches should always have a coach. So my coach has given me a big slap on that one. So he's already said, I'm giving you until January the 4th to get your things in order. And after that, if you're not doing what you pledged that you're going to do, I better have no excuse. That's my planning for. But, you know, you said, what do I think is going to happen in 2021? Lan, Philip, I don't know. I think real assets will go up because governments keep printing money.
Definitely. I think stimulus will around the world will be increasing. So there'll be.
You don't think the Australian government's going to pull the stimulus back? I think they'll continue money printing.
Yeah, I mean the supply of money, but it won't be in the hands of the people that need it. It'll just be in the market, inflate asset prices. But yeah, I just, like, a lot of people come to me for property advice, and I just believe that the way that you make money through property has changed. You just can't do it the way before. But anyway,
I'd love to hear your views on that. What do you mean by that?
We need a new video. I don't think we have. I think we do. We will. I'll cover quickly, but Phil, I think that's a good video for 2021. A lot of my community know that I've been in property for more than 20 years. Actually, I started my, from Robert Kiyosaki's days. Like that's what inspired me in building wealth using the vehicle property.
Hey.
Great book.
Great book.
But when I got connected to Mike Maloney about the money, what's real money? So Robert Kiyosaki, the series, teach you as a business owner how to leverage your time, your money, to build wealth and your business. So thank you for him. Thank you, Robert. Okay, that has helped my business and my, build massive, and also the property. COVID came in, like what you said, Kerry. I love it. I love your saying. Grab 5 years of the future, and I wrote it down, and bring it forward to present. What that meant was that what you did in the past and made easy money is gone. Digital is here. Digital is here. So what I mean is, in the past, you can open offices, and you make more money because, if you open 4 offices or 4 cafes, the customers will come from different suburbs. It's not necessarily like that anymore. Your customers are not local only. It's national and global if you're good enough on social media. Okay, so those people who are early adopters of that will be the winners. So what that means in property is commercial property. The local strips will be it will be impacted, but it doesn't mean that it's going to go down or crash, because there will still be 99% of people still doing it. But the 1%ers know that you don't need that anymore to grow your business. Okay, it takes time for the 99% to adopt. It might be a couple of years to adopt, but for people who are listening on our channel and following us, they should be doing what we're doing right now. That's on the commercial side. So I feel sorry for the city CBD, because they have no hope, because customers realize that you don't need to pay 100,000 rent to run a business anymore. So they're going to suffer that. On residential side, I believe that you can always manufacture equity quickly and create by development. It's just what you develop. You develop based on what the government is supporting a lot, like, stamp duty concession with new homes, townhouse under 1 million. Our government is still supporting that and propping up the property market. But you got to be timing your entry and exit very carefully, because there will be a time of a crash. For those who already have land banked, maybe it's time to get that project up and running and selling. Okay, but if you're a newbie and you're getting in, you need advice. You need a coach. You're going to be squashed by the savvy players, because as I can see it, I'm not buying anything new because I think that it's inflated. But if you have land that you bought like ages ago, maybe it's time to create the product, the townhouses, and then sell it at a highest price, which I believe properties will go up based on all the government incentives. Yeah, so there are things pro property, but it's not. It's all again fake. You just have to be careful because people who are in the market long, they understand property cycles, market levers, all that. But for newbies, they think, oh, price is going up, and I'm going to get in, and then they get burnt when everyone else is getting out. Just be careful. So that's my take on property. Everyone is different at different levels, so you can't really take that as advice because for someone who's already invested 25 years, it's different portfolio than someone who's starting to invest. So that's why as Kerry and I mentioned, very important to get someone to sit down with you, an expert that can help you assess your goals and what is good strategy for you to achieve that level of wealth. Because your level of wealth might be $1 million, but someone's saving might be 10 million. So it cannot be the same strategy.
It's exactly right, because everybody is very different. But the most important thing is you've got to do something. Don't sit on your backside and watch Netflix. Do something. Take action.
Or get too scared or be on the fence. A lot of people say, oh, I want to get in, but I'm on the fence. So to get more clarity, do more research. That's all. Yeah. So, so I think 21 for me, I see a lot of opportunity. A lot. Too much opportunity. And every time I speak to an expert like you, Kerry, it gives me more ideas. So Kerry's not slowing down. I can't slow down, right? Kerry. But Kerry, is there any last words you'd like to share, leave and empower our business community?
Sure. Okay, so I think the best comments that I would make to finish this up is don't let fear be your leader. Don't allow the fear that's out there with whether it's COVID, whether it's the price of something, whether it's whatever it is, don't let fear immobilize you. Take action and get ready because you owe it to your family, you owe it to your children, you owe it to yourself. Make sure, I would say we're coming up to the end of 2020. I hope that you've got through 2020 in reasonable shape. If you haven't, 2021 is a new year. It's going to be really exciting time, but as Lan just said, there's going to be opportunities, but there will also be some challenges. Just make sure that you stop watching Netflix and stay educated. That would be my best advice.
And stay in proximity with people that you strive to want to be with, I think that has helped.
You want to be an alcoholic? Hang around alcoholics. You want to be a millionaire? Hang around millionaires.
Well, what a show. I think this has been the perfect show to wrap up this year and leading into next year, full of possibilities. I think it's going to be exciting for myself. This year actually has been a pivot for me. And next year, I just actually can't wait. I don't know about everyone else, but like you, Lan, I can't wait for next year. And I can't wait to see what you do next, Kerry. Like, you're into so many things. I'm just so excited to keep on hearing your journey and where it leads you. And the network you've built, it's just been amazing. And the value you bring to the community. I'm an avid watcher of all your events. So it's been amazing. And we thank you for the efforts you put in there.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm so very grateful. Always happy to chat, and I love what you guys do with the educational side of things. So you guys keep rocking, and it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you both today.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mary. Thanks. And I'm sure we invite you again next year to see how 2021 pans out and our predictions.
Look forward to it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.